Good afternoon.
For a minute there, I thought you weren't coming back.
I am not used to being a human who has to have glasses to function, because
Yes.
I've had 4.5 decades of not needing glasses to function. And then I had like a year when it was fine, but after a couple of hours, I'd be like, I should probably put my glasses on. I'm getting a headache. Yes, the thing, once in a while, these threads pop up on Reddit about like what are the things that now you're old, you wish you could tell young people, even though they won't listen anyway.
Yes.
And the thing I never appreciated is how aging is not a linear process. It is not a sort of just like a gradual decline. It's like you're sort of like, my eyes don't work, and they worked a month ago. Oh,
yes.
crap. Anyway, hello, welcome to another sort of slightly ad hoc experiments with Claude. Adventures, explorations, adventures with Claude Code.
Yes.
So on yesterday's session, so the context for this. And I'm going to say this, and then what's going to happen is that over the course of the next, 2 hours or so, a lot of people are going to join the stream who weren't here for the context, and will completely get the wrong end of the stick and go, "You're holding it wrong. That's not how you use Claude. You should be writing a spec in Markdown." And some of them will actually email me afterwards to tell me that I'm doing it wrong and attach screenshots of how to do it right, which is fine. Yeah.
Is that a real thing that really happened?
Yes, one of the folks, I'm being a little disingenuous. One of the folks who was watching the stream yesterday emailed me afterwards and said, "You really should be using spec-driven development and writing this file and that file and then just letting it all get on with it."
Yes.
And implied that this means the stream is probably going to be us writing some Markdown and then watching Claude for half an hour while it does the things.
Well, no. No, it's going to be us npm installing a tool that writes the Markdown for you and then watching it. Yeah.
Yes.
But before we do that, yes, have you read David Whitney's?
I did.
6,000 word.
There's something about 6,000 words that it doesn't look very good when you scroll it on your phone. But let me, I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to share this on the screen here. Share screen, which screen, yes, screen, that screen, entire screen, that screen, go screen, share screen, boom, screen. Yes. So this is David Whitney, who is a dear friend of ours and lovely guy, and somebody who...
one of my favorite people.
Yes, who I have always found his perspectives and opinions on software to be kind of close enough to my own, but not exactly aligned, which is always a very sort of interesting way to look at things.
Yes.
But, he and I have geeked out over many years about things like, can source code actually be art in its own right, and all these kinds of things. And yes, he wrote this. I'm going to drop a link to this in the chat in case anyone wants to take a look at it. And I think it sort of quite neatly captures a lot of things that I have been personally looking at and struggling with. And the one in here that kind of jumped out at me was, the thing marketing said last year about Copilot being able to automate most of your programming job, and then you tried it and it didn't really work and you just got on with your day. And I have been making a point of checking in, like probably at least every 3 months, if not more frequently, as to, what the state of the art is when it comes to AI assisted coding tools and their ability to create software. Even the phrase write software is probably, it's going to become one of those slightly anachronistic relics, I suspect.
Yeah.
Like hanging up the phone when nobody who is alive has ever hung a phone up on a hook on a wall, because we don't have those and we haven't for decades. And, this, I was like, yeah, and the temperature changed. It works now. And this is, I think this is the revelation. This is the point that has just hit. And the fact that it hit in February in England, and it has rained in England every day of 2026 so far, is really just like, there are days you're like, what? No, I'm not even getting out of bed today. What's the point? code is finished. It's raining every day. Everything is screwed to hell. I have no idea what I do with my life in a world where code is worthless and
Yes.
languages are silly and no one reads them anyway. And, you know, and it's...
I think I thought of something while I was reading this post. And I mean, for me, the point at which it changed and I was kind of like, oh, damn, what do I do now? Was using Claude Code with Opus 4.5 when my company at the time were paying for the full-on 20 times max subscription, and so I literally just could not run out of credits. It was whatever. And yeah, once I'd kind of figured out this workflow and the tool that we're going to talk about in a little while, everything. And then, have you seen? There's like videos and stuff, and I think it's a thing now in China. But there's like a robot that can 3D print a house.
I mean, I've seen things over the years about 3D printing various kinds of buildings.
Yes.
Basically a massive 3D printer on a huge bed that prints with concrete instead of filament.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So if there's been an earthquake, they send this thing in and it just prints houses for people to live in.
Yes. And there's lots of advantages to printing houses that way because it can print curves and it can you can lay plumbing and electrical conduits and all sorts of stuff. You can sort of just put the windows in. But essentially you design your house in, I assume, some kind of CAD package, and then the 3D printer replaces kind of bricklayers and probably quite a lot of the people who would work on a building site. And the main sort of thing that means you can't just, you know, there's the speed at which you can extrude concrete or whatever the houses are made of, and how long it takes it to dry. And I think reading David's post and sort of thinking about it, I think the way I'm feeling now is the way a bricklayer would feel watching one of those robots.
Yeah.
And just kind of like going, okay, so the architect still has a job, and the carpenters probably still have jobs to a certain, but what do I do when all houses are 3D printed? And it's that kind of thing.
Extend that metaphor a little further. That also, to me, carries the implication that if something goes wrong with your house, you knock it down and 3D print another one. Because systems that are, you know, delivered as a single 3D printed unit generally are not optimized for maintenance.
No.
And I wonder to what extent the future of code is, oh, there's a bug in this. All right, we'll throw it away and make another one. You know, we've still got the spec that we used to build the last one, so we'll fix the spec. Which, now there are two sort of historical pivot points in all of this, which keep crossing my mind. One of them is the number of people who, at some point in the history of humankind, rode their horse to a demonstration of an internal combustion engine, watched it stall or backfire or fail to start, laughed, and went home on their horse and thought, well, that's that. I don't need to worry about that then. But the other one is the advent of compiled programming languages. And there was very definitely a point in history, because, you know, I've read up about this as something that might make it into a talk one day, of people who would compile a program and then they would look at the machine code and they would go, that's not right. That's not how I'd have done it. That's not good enough. Don't they know that this machine has a, an instruction for doing a 16-bit integer divide? And instead they've compiled it to repeated subtraction. Lol, that's never going to work. And of course, what actually happens is, one, everyone stops caring about machine code. Two, they fix the compiler, because they're like, well, that's where actually we want to fix this thing. And you know, the observation is valid there. And it's like we've put another, because fundamentally we have not yet invented any computing. There's no microchip out there that can run Markdown or English. That doesn't exist. We are still building layers of abstraction on top of a clock linked up to a full adder, linked up to a transistor, linked up to the trillion, billion, jillion bits and pieces that are inside your AMD Threadripper chip.
Yes.
But what we've been doing is going, well, all right, well, the chip wants, the transistors want voltage. So we'll say if the voltage is kind of down here, we'll call that 0. And if it's kind of up here, we'll call that 1. And then now we got 1s and 0s, so we can add those together. And then we can turn the 1s and 0s into numbers. And then we can turn the numbers into instruction codes. And then we can abstract the instruction codes using assembler. And then now let's do it in C. Let's do it. Let's use C to build a virtual machine that we can put Java on top of, or .NET, or we'll use C to build a browser which has a runtime, which has JavaScript, which has these layers of abstraction. And now, we appear to have reached a point where you can say, well, I'm going to use... Now, if somebody had said to you 5 years ago that Markdown was going to be the most important programming language of the rest of your career, what noise would you have made? Yeah.
Literally that noise.
But that's where we're at.
I mean, the idea that the person who's written, who created / designed / whatever the last programming language that mankind would ever use is John King Gruber, of Daring Fireball.
Yeah.
That was not on anyone's bingo card for anything ever. But that's where we are. I mean, that is.
And there's something.
We'll see this as we go through some stuff today.
And it's sort of academically very interesting to me that there's this exact point where it's like basic plain text is not quite enough, but Markdown gives us just enough for bullet lists and ordered lists, basically all the things that are in HTML1, like the very earliest version of HTML are in Markdown.
Yes.
But it's not HTML, because HTML is too hard to write.
The things that are the most useful in Markdown in terms of using it as a programming language to instruct an agent or an LLM or whatever, bullet lists.
Yep.
Bullet lists with checkboxes.
Yep.
Which you can use for like a to-do list. These are the tasks. These are the ones that are, mark the tasks as done where they're completed and so forth. Code, so the backtick, both are kind of like, this is a command you can run or whatever it might be, and also fenced code samples with a triple backtick. And the headings thing where you can reference. So you put a heading in, and then you can reference that heading from other places as well. There's also a kind of extension to it that seems to be, I don't remember it being LLM specific or in Markdown before, but if you put at, then it goes into that referencing a file mode. And so you can sort of go and look at docs / how to format.
Markdown has always been 15 squirrel-shaped specifications in a trench coat.
Yeah.
There are, and they're not even, but there's GitHub flavored Markdown. I like flavored. Like we're not sure, but it's got a little hint of this to it. I mean, I've done things. I use Markdown to write all of my course materials for the writing workshop manuals and stuff. And it is amazing how much of the stuff it doesn't do, you subsequently realize you didn't really need it anyway. And especially, combination Markdown compiling to HTML with some fairly imaginative CSS, you can do some amazing things with it. But of course, CSS makes things look usable and pretty, and the machines don't care what it looks like. They're just like, no, feed me tokens, father. I'm
using Markdown to write my book.
Yeah. No, I write everything in Markdown. I write blog posts in Markdown. I write specs. I write, notes and all kinds of things. The Line Breakers' entire set list and all of our lyrics and everything are written in Markdown. using a thing that if you put 3 backticks and then the word lyrics, it goes, oh, well, this is clearly code in a language I don't understand. And so it fences it for you so you can put the chord shapes in monospaced font. So, yeah.
Which is very handy.
It has
so, yes.
No, just the interesting thing going through David's post was programming in the traditional sense might be kind of over. And he talks about something that he's been working on, which he's, I think, definitely spoken to a couple of us about getting given a. I'm looking for the thing here. Shipped an extract of some mainframe data. So this is a massive binary file, completely undocumented, with a Win32 tool that you can use to see what's in it. And he said that this thing, it wrote Python to program a disassembler to decompile the executable, to figure out which 1990s era libraries had been used to encrypt it in the first place. And and then, it goes on to say that it's the kind of thing that's not impossible, but engineering teams would take months, because it's kind of like breaking the Enigma code. You're going through this chunk of data, and that happening in, a matter of days rather than a matter of months, and happening in the background is, that's astonishing.
Yeah.
It genuinely is. And, it sort of goes on. This was the bit that jumped out at me. I've never been more productive. I've never been more exhausted. And this, I think, is the real issue that I think a lot of folks are going to have to grapple with, is the balance of you do the hard brain work, and then you do the relatively kind of meditative typing work, and then you do the thinking work, and then you do the typing work. Because I have always found it easier to reason about the design of software while I'm immersed in the craft of writing it. And I've written countless functional specs in Markdown and Word and all kinds of things over the years, and written tickets and Jira and Pivotal and all this kind of stuff. And this idea of you do all that, and then you never you're not involved in building it at all, and you never see it, and you get the end result. And that stepping away from any connection, professional, personal, emotional, whatever, of the actual code that exists, I think it's going to break a lot of people in the brain.
Yes.
And I think some of them will never get better. But
yes, it is. We are honestly, I think the other thing is that a lot of people, and certainly a lot of the people I still consider charlatans and snake oil salesmen, at the actual heart of the AI industry, people like Sam Altman, for example, have been talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence or super intelligence. When are they going to create something that is arguably conscious and just completely able to learn on the fly and all this sort of thing? And I think what we've discovered, and what Anthropic in particular have discovered, is we don't need that. Not for this. Yes, at some point maybe somebody will create it, but we don't need it to build software. We don't need it to generate code. And I think this is true of code and software in a way that it's not true of like literature and music and art and so forth. I don't think it's the same thing. You can say, oh, programming is a creative endeavor, and yes, it is, but it's thinking of interesting solutions to problems. The act of typing code is not a creative endeavor. And in my talk on how JavaScript happened, which is like a history of programming languages, it talks about Fortran, which was the first ever programming language, and also it is still there's new versions of Fortran. When they released that, or when they announced it,
thing. Hang on.
Machine code programmers, people who were actually typing hexadecimal numbers into things and stamping them onto punch cards and loading them into mainframes, were like, that's ridiculous. That's never going to work. And it won't do it as well as I can do it. And they thought that part of their craft was fine-tuning that machine code to do exactly the right thing at exactly the right time. And what Fortran proved was, no, that's not the point of programming. The point of programming is thinking of algorithms and everything else. And we're now at this point where, you know, even that step of writing C# or JavaScript or whatever is no longer necessary.
The much kind of, you know, bigger question is, why is software such a big deal in the first place? And you know, the only software which has intrinsic value to me is computer games, because they are the only things that the whole reason the software exists is so that a person can interact with it while it is running. And at the end of that, they switch it off and it's finished. Nothing gets delivered. Nobody files their accounts. There isn't some legal compliance. You don't get pizza come to your door or go and get on an aeroplane, or, you know, so many of the the things that we, you know, think about all the code that you've written over the course of your career and think about, you know, what was the actual, why did it exist? What was the outcome that made a real person go, oh, this is good. I like that this existed and this worked. And so much of that potentially is, you know, food delivery is an interesting one, because, hey, just forget Just Eat Takeaway and Deliveroo and all of those websites. All we need is a way for the restaurants to tell the internet what they're cooking today, and then you have your agent that talks to them all and goes, yeah, here you go, I got the credit card, it's fine, here's where the house is. No, don't go to number 8, go to number 4.
The people who provide the infrastructure for that, so people like Stripe for handling payments, I think are the only ones who are secure at this point, really.
Well, infrastructure, you know, connectivity is going to be a big deal. Networking, fiber, broadband, payment, you know. But yeah, the rest of it is, you're looking at every single, you know, website out there and thinking, why do people interact with this? And some of them are fun, and you know, I suspect sites like Reddit will do all right for a while, because they're about people talking to other people. So anyway, this is just, you're talking about literature. This is another thing that popped up in the Firehose, one of the Firehose group chats.
Ooh, the register
about semantic ablation.
I haven't seen the register for ages.
Which is talking about why all AI writing ends up being the same, because what it does is this, I love this. When an author uses AI for polishing a draft, they are not seeing improvement. They are witnessing semantic ablation. The AI defines high entropy clusters, the precise points where unique insights and blood reside, and systematically replaces them with the most probable generic token sequences. What began as a jagged, precise Romanesque structure of stone is eroded into a polished Baroque plastic shell. It looks clean to the casual eye, but its structural integrity, this is either kitschier or ciccia, and I can never remember in Italian. It's a kitschier, isn't it? Because that's how cappuccino works.
It's kitschier, yeah.
Kitschier, yeah. A hollow, frictionless aesthetic. And I was like, yes, more friction. We like friction. Friction.
Yes.
Unconventional linguistic friction was the phrase I liked.
Yes.
Because that's what
you think if you
teaching, so
if you ran Douglas Adams prose through this, everything that made Douglas Adams prose what it was, everything where you could look at it and go, yes, this is why Mostly Harmless as a book doesn't work. Because the only person who could convincingly write like Douglas Adams was Douglas Adams.
I used this exact example in a talk that I did about machine learning systems at a couple of conferences last year. The ships hung in the sky in much the same way that bricks don't.
Get out of my head. That is exactly what I was thinking of. Exactly that line.
And I say, you know, a language model that has been trained on prior art would never, ever write that line.
Yeah.
And, which is fine if you're writing press releases.
Kieran says it's Chichia.
Because they're
Because
both
followed by front
vowels.
vowels.
So
Thank you, Kieran.
Why is what's a front vowel, and why is a cappuccino not a cappuccino?
Because I don't think A is a front vowel. I think I is a front vowel.
So the point someone's popped up, you can ask AI to imitate any style. You can if that style already exists to be imitated.
Yes.
What you can't do is say to AI, write a piece of prose that is so unbelievably original and humorous and eye-catching that it's going to sell 1 million copies because no one has ever read anything like it before. I mean, you can, and it'll give you something, but it ain't going to sell 1 million copies because people will be like, this is AI slop. And so why didn't you ask AI how it's pronounced? Because we haven't got there yet. We're just warming up. Comment in the chat, even if you can build your software AI with AI, isn't the security perspective important? I have a horrible feeling that the phrase collateral damage is applicable to this because something I have believed for a long time is that the vast majority of companies are actually running with vulnerabilities they are unaware of, and the cost of eliminating them in anticipation of an exploit is so prohibitively high that they just don't do it. And most of the time that's fine because most people aren't that vulnerable and most companies are not targets for the kind of concerted attacks that you get if you're like, giving iPhones to the CIA, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that if we lose 3 or 4 little takeaways a month because their entire business account got wiped out, that's probably just the price we're going to have to pay to live in the glorious future where anyone who wants to can go onto their Android phone and say, make me an app to order pizza, and then it's done.
I think the other thing with this is that, I'm showing you how to use Claude Code. Ostensibly at this point. We'll come to that question in a moment.
We will. I'm telling you so we don't lose it.
A software engineer with 36 years of industry experience, whatever it is, a long time.
The phrase decades conceals a multitude of sins.
Decades. And I'm teaching you, another software engineer with decades of experience, how to use this latest tool to build software, which is something that's happened for years. The guy who runs the coffee shop down the road from me that does really, really nice lattes isn't going to be able to use Claude Code. And part of, I think, what we're going to be doing over the next couple or 3 years, probably, people are going to be trying to build tools that I've activated Siri. God damn it. Okay, it's gone away again. Is going to be building those tools that mean that normal, ordinary people can say, I want an app so that people can order lattes from my shop. And part of doing that is building in that knowledge of secure software development life cycles and correct use of OAuth and OpenID and all these sorts of things, and probably even creating building blocks for the AIs to use, so that, yes, you can sort of open your phone and go blah, blah, blah. And we're already at the point where, ChatGPT and the things that people are talking to, the things that men are using to answer their girlfriend's texts and whatever else. I saw that on an episode of South Park, so it must be true. But a lot of the time, if you ask them a question, they'll write a Python script to figure it out. That's somewhere in a data center. It's generated a Python script and run it, and then it comes back with the answer. And so it's already writing code. But yes, we will get to this point. I'm
going to throw in a very quick tangent because you accidentally activating Siri reminded me of a delightful story. My friend Dave, who you met in Perth in Western Australia, finally worked out why when they're having Thai food, music would randomly start playing, was because their Alexa was interpreting I like satay as Alexa play. And so whenever anyone said, I like satay sauce, it would then start playing whatever it thought sauce referred to.
Yes.
And yeah, it apparently took a while to figure that one out. But
anyway, Dorothy
yes.
has asked, can't you train an AI solely on Douglas Adams? The problem with that, and the problem with Douglas Adams, kind of when it comes right down to it, is that he was a lazy fuck.
Yeah.
So you could potentially train an AI on Terry Pratchett. You could certainly train an AI on Catherine Cookson, or maybe Agatha Christie. If it's a large enough corpus, then yes, you can train an AI on it. But when the author has only half a dozen books to their name, so like 5 books in the Hitchhiker's trilogy and 2 Dirk Gently books, that's really not enough to properly train. You can't use that quantity of text to fine-tune an LLM. You're almost at the point where you just need something like Gemini that's got a big enough context window, and you load the entire thing into the context window and go, mock that. And it's still not going to do it. And I would argue that even with Terry Pratchett, where there is, 30 Discworld books, 35, there's a lot of text out there. Slavishly copying that style, which is what an LLM does, is not the same as being the person who writes like that.
Yes.
And so, yes, you would get, the LLM would maybe be able to generate a sentence that was something along the lines of the rain fell upwards in exactly the way that water doesn't.
Yeah.
And you just kind of like go, oh, that's just redoing that joke from that other thing. And that's where it goes wrong. Another wonderful line from So Long and Thanks for All the Fish is all the clouds knew was that they loved him and something and wanted to water him. About Rob McKenna, the rain god. But then you also have this thing of having the kind of mind that thinks of something like a man who decides the world's gone mad, so builds a house with the wallpaper on the outside and the exposed brickwork and tiles on the inside, because when he's inside the house, he's outside the mental asylum that he has built to put the whole of the rest of the world in. LLMs are never going to come up with that as a concept. So, and I'm talking as someone who I am actively using an LLM, I'm actively using Claude to help me write a book, because I don't know how to write a book. I can write really nice sentences. I can write quite funny things. When I used to blog, I wrote blog posts that went kind of viral because they were funny. And so it says, do you want me to write it for you? I'm like, no. But helping me outline, helping me structure it, giving me like tips as to how to pace a chapter and where to put and all this sort of stuff. It's really, really helpful for that. It's just when it comes to writing the actual words and making them quirky and whimsical in my particular style, that's for me to do. That's the creative bit.
There is definitely
yes.
I mean, the analogies that always come to mind for me are about music. And if you had trained an LLM on all of the guitar music recorded in the world up until about 1962, it would not have produced music that sounded like Jimi Hendrix, because that didn't exist. Yeah. And if you'd then done it again in 1978, it would not have come up with Edward Van Halen, because it didn't exist. Yes. And, there are an awful lot of guitar players since who have been so influenced by Jimi Hendrix and Edward Van Halen that, and, write great music and it's a lot of fun to listen to, but no one's putting them on the cover of Classic Rock magazine 30 years after they died going, still the greatest, question mark. And, you know, that's to me the difference between content and art. And I think, you know, we've reached a point where we can mass produce content. Machines can do that. And whenever anyone says content creator, I'm like, really? Is that what you do with your life? Because I think we should aspire to do better than that. I think we should aspire to be artists or writers or musicians and you know, I think just to very briefly comment, and then we're going to dive in and actually do some coding stuff. Something David Whitney said in one of his talks that he's doing at the moment is about intentionality of art. Like, really the only difference between a sunset and a picture of a sunset is the person who took the picture did it on purpose because they wanted you to see it. And
yes,
a sunset is not art, but if you photograph it, there is intention, and whatever form that takes. And for me, my awareness that at some point the code that I write will probably be read by somebody who is maintaining it or modifying it has always carried with it that implication of intentionality. Like, yes, the code is being written for the maintainer to understand, and it'll run, but, you know, when you're going through and going, you know, refactor this, move that, that's not a good name for that method, all this kind of stuff. You're not doing it because it makes the program run any faster or it makes the website any easier to use. You're doing it because somebody, and that somebody might be you 6 months from now, is going to be coming back and looking through that. And I think that the question that is still open is all of the code that is being generated by this wave of machine-assisted coding, is that it? It's just fine. It'll run, and when it doesn't run, the machines will fix it, and that's not a problem. Or is there going, because, you know, I've seen a lot of people go, oh, we're going to have such a juicy bunch of cleanup contracts in a year or two. And I think given the state of the art a year ago, I believed that, and I'm not sure I believe it anymore. And
yes,
yeah. Or also, you know, what happens when they're like, oh shit, we ran out of free money. Claude Code is now $2,000 a month for the basic plan. And people are like, well, we can hire a junior developer for $1,500 in, I don't know, the Philippines or somewhere. Let's get them to fix it. And, you know, some poor kid 2 years out of school has got 50 million lines of AI coded code that works. And now they have to fix it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Let's make some AI coded code that works, and then
okay. So the first thing we're going to do to make some AI coded code that works is we're going to go to Claude.com.
Shall I? Are we going to go to Claude.com? Oh, I needed that browser, didn't I? Oh, hang on. Claude.com, Claude.ai.
And then down on the bottom left there, there's a sort of download. No, above that.
Oh, yes.
And you're going to download for Windows. Yes, that. And then you're going to install that.
Claude.
This is the desktop application for Claude. So this is the thing. I'm very happy
they have one of those.
Yes.
Yeah. It's Electron, isn't it, really? I mean, it's not a proper desktop application.
I don't know. I think it probably is Electron, yes. Yes, get started, and then just
let's put that over there. Continue with email. Click the link. So have you noticed how more and more things now, instead of giving you a password, they're like, click the link?
Yes.
Because they're like, oh no, we want to make sure that the email you've given us is still good and working today in case we suddenly need to sell it.
This is why I have reverted to using my base Gmail.
Yeah.
Rather than any of the domains that I own, because if the domains disappear,
I trust DylanBeatty.net more than I trust gmail.com.
Really?
Because, well, if DylanBeatty.net goes wrong, I know actual human beings I can talk to help recover it, because all the links in the chain are relatively small companies. if Gmail stops working, the only saving grace is that 2 billion other people are also screwed.
Yes.
But,
So yeah, then you can click. The app should have opened somewhere.
Yes, there we go.
All right, and maximize it. Okay, so at the top there, you'll see you've got chat, co-work, and code in the middle. I never use anything except chat. But co-work is interesting. So co-work is people were using Claude Code, opening it in a folder that had like a bunch of PDFs or Word documents or whatever, and then telling it to do stuff there.
How much damage could this do? Because I just installed it as me, and it's running as a native app, and this is Windows, which, unlike macOS, does not pester you every 30 seconds that an app would like to open a file.
Chat certainly can't do very much. You see where it says connect your tools to Claude?
Yep.
So that's basically saying, hey, Claude, you can access these applications. So if you give it access to Word, for example, then technically it can go and do terrible things to any Word documents it finds and stuff. So, but mostly it is. Play sheet music. Ask Claude to generate and play. No. No, absolutely not.
All right.
So yes. Anyway.
Yes.
If you click, so top left, there's a sort of not that one, the one next to it. So there you go. Open the sidebar, and then you can go into projects.
What the is that?
So that's a chat that you had with Claude on the web.
Did I chat to
Which
Claude?
is now available here. Claude's memory still has this in.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, so this is where you were asking.
February 2025. Yeah, it completely made a total arse out of this. That's why I never came back to it until now.
I bet it could do it now, though.
Yeah. Maybe.
So yes, if you go to the projects bit in the sidebar there.
Yeah.
And you can start a new project.
New project.
And just call it Customizing Claude.
Can't it give me a good name for this? Thinking of names is really hard.
And then in there, you can say creating skills, commands, and system prompts.
Factored into it anywhere?
It does.
Everything feeds off everything, right?
This all goes into its context. That's it. Okay. And then if you scroll down a bit, you can see that you've got files. So you can say, here are files and folders that are useful to this project. And you also have instructions. And instructions is like an addendum to the system prompt where you can say, this is what I want you to do. So I'm going to post projects.
While you're doing that, Dylan's background is very Tron meets Miami Vice. The background is from, there's a guy called Michal Kvash or KVAC, who is on all the things, and once in a while does a big sale of artwork and things on Patreon. And we haven't found anything because I can't spell, and there we go. ArtStation. That's the guy. Yeah, changed to pounds.
Right.
Yes, if you want awesome synthwave wallpaper, go here. Right. Close that.
So yeah, I just sent you a thing in Signal.
Yes, got it.
Which you can copy and paste into instructions.
Here.
So yeah. Okay, so let's.
So this is just it's English text. Focus on creating system prompts, skills, and commands specifically for. So this can do anything. Like I could go into chat and say, build me a set of bingo cards that I can give out at my karaoke night, and it would go, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So you save instructions.
Yep.
And then if you go into just the chat thing.
Yep. So instructions is like standing orders. It's like this project. Always bear this in mind while we are chatting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So the nice thing about this, and the reason that we're using the desktop application rather than the command line tool, is that this, if you use the web interface on Claude.ai, it will also have access to all of this. If you use Claude on multiple machines and they're logged into the same account, everything is synchronized across stuff. Whereas with Claude Code, you don't get that nicety.
Yes. All right.
And so I have like a dozen different projects on different things, and a lot of the planning and stuff is in there. So if you now say, create a system prompt to configure Claude Code as a requirements analyst who asks the user questions about their project. And
is this specific to, so let's assume today's scenario, let's see if we can get it to build a Windows native media player.
That's what we, so yes.
Is this a generic, I'm configuring Claude as a generic tool, or is this specific to, do I start talking in here about media players and stuff?
No, here you definitely don't. And you generally wouldn't. So yes.
So at this stage, this customizing Claude is like hiring staff for a consultancy that haven't got any projects yet.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And so and keep typing, and produces a document called requirements.md.
Do I have to put that in capital letters so it looks important?
That's the standard. Is we put all caps for the thing. That can be used by an architect to design and plan the project, and just press enter.
And the only thing in here that is even remotely related to the fact this is a software project is the fact that it says Claude Code.
Yes.
Because all of this could be applicable to designing a new house.
Yes. I love the way it just searched the web. That was what, 3 seconds? Yeah. Now I have a thorough understanding of the Claude Code ecosystem. That would have been an afternoon.
Yeah.
For you, going off and researching it and trying to find
it doesn't have a thorough understanding. It's just got some tokens in its context window, right?
Yes.
So what we're doing here is we're using Claude Chat to short circuit what could have been a manual process of telling Claude Code how to be a requirements analyst.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So before we started the stream, Dylan said to me, I have a feeling that what I'm going to be doing is handcrafting some Markdown and then watching Claude for half an hour. And I was kind of like, no, we don't handcraft the Markdown. So yeah, what we're doing here is, rather than creating a Claude.md, I mean, it's creating a Claude.md configuration, which it can use. And I don't know why it's creating a / command and a skill, but we'll find out, won't we?
Probably best not to ask. It's
best not
smarter
to ask.
than both of us. So
yes,
brain the size of a planet, I heard.
It has indeed. It's got a 5 gigawatt brain the size of Utah. The system prompt, you specifically provide to Claude using a command line parameter. So you put the file, I normally have a prompts directory, which has got like requirements, analyst, architect, all those sorts of things in there. And then you say on the command line, you say Claude -- system -- prompt - file, and then give it the file to use. And then what you're doing is you're replacing the default system prompt. So there's kind of like the core system prompt, which is the thing that people always trying to hack to get Claude to tell them how to make dirty bombs or whatever. But then Claude Code has its own system prompt that says you're a general purpose architect, developer, whatever. We are replacing that. We are specifically telling it you're just a requirements analyst. And then we can go in and we can look at what it generates, the system prompt that it generates, and we can fine-tune it. We can either fine-tune it by editing the Markdown ourselves, or we can fine-tune it by saying, oh, Claude, can you modify that system prompt to make clear that something? And yes, so fighty cars in the chat. I usually include some strong language around not doing too much in my instructions /claude.md. I'll be honest, this is the first time I've seen it when I asked for a system prompt say it was going to create a claude.md configuration. Hey ho. But yes, it's blistering away here. Read me explaining all the files.
My new favorite joke while this is doing what it's doing.
Go on then.
So there's a German tourist is visiting the United States and goes into a McDonald's in Manhattan and orders a beer because in Germany that's a completely normal thing to do. And the guy at the counter says, "Don't be stupid, pals. It's McDonald's. You can't get a beer in McDonald's." And the German guy thinks for a second, and then he absolutely pisses himself laughing. And the guy's like, "I don't get it, buddy. What's so funny?" He said, "That means you people come here for the food." There we go. Look, it needed a joke.
Yes. Right. Okay. So yeah, if you
right.
Right. I honestly don't know where it's put all the stuff. Where's it put it all? Scroll down on there because it's oh, there we go.
Oh.
So yeah, you can do download all.
Yeah.
Then there you go.
There we go. And let's, oh, hang on. We don't want two of those. We want one of those. Oh, no, stop.
How many times did you click it, Dylan?
Well, I clicked it once and it didn't do anything within 8 milliseconds. So I clicked it again and then again and then again.
Yes.
Because I spent a huge amount of money on a computer that does things quickly.
Ah.
Yeah, that was probably a mistake, wasn't it? I should have bought a new guitar instead. Okay, so that's gone into my downloads folder.
Yeah.
So now,
so you can head over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And open up your files.zip. The very helpfully named files.zip.
Did that go to downloads or did it go to a completely different downloads, which does not exist?
I don't know.
I think it went somewhere. I'm going to save it somewhere different.
Yes.
Let's save it into D, and in D we'll create a new folder called Claude stuff, and I'll stick it in there.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, and then I'll open up D Claude stuff and files.zip. Cool. All right, let me extract that.
Okay, and then if you open this folder in VS Code or whatever.
Are we looking at the source, or do we just want to read what it said?
We just want to read what it says.
In that case, I will use Typora, which is the thing I use for file, open folder, Claude stuff. Okay.
Okay. So if you look at README in there, that tells you what it's created. And it's got a gather requirements, show progress, and generate requirements.
Hang on. All right. So we've got a, that's README. System prompt is the thing that tells it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You are a senior requirements analyst embedded in a software project team. Your sole purpose in this mode is to elicit, clarify, and doc. Oh my God, we've generated bullshit as a service.
Yes.
Yes.
But see, this is not something that you would. This is when the fact that it does this, what was it, semantic ablation?
Yeah.
Actually serves our purpose really well, because this is a document for the LLM.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is nutrition devoid of flavor.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And you can see that it's got some. It's got an example thing there, and so forth.
Okay.
And yeah, so you can sort of find bits in here. Where it's sort of like going, your persona, you are methodical, curious, and collaborative. You ask one focused question at a time, listen carefully to answers, and probe for depth when something is ambiguous. You never assume, you ask. You think like both a business analyst, what problem are we solving, and a technical stakeholder, what constraints shape the solution.
The temptation to put something in here like, you will also quit if any brown M&Ms are found in the backstage area. But yes, no, let's not.
Let's not do that today. Let's save that for another time.
So that's what's in that. So that's the thing that tells Claude who it's supposed to be, how to behave, what questions to ask, what format to put the results in, and what to do when it's done it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If you then open up Claude.md, you can see that this is this Claude.md is the file that it will automatically read.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure that putting things in here, because you would basically then, when you go into the next mode, you would have to like rename this to something else and pull in some like there.
Yeah.
So I would probably not use this. And then if you look at gather requirements.md, so this is a command. And this is, it's so, think of it like a macro.
Yeah.
So a command is something which you can add to a directory. And if you put it in the .claude/commands, and you can either just put an MD file directly in there, or you can create subdirectories and then put MD files in there, which is the slightly better way to do it.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, and so gather requirements is a command, generate requirements is a command.
That includes the Markdown structure that it should. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And then
progress is a command.
And then you have skill.md. So this is part of a skill. So a skill is more, you can use this skill. These are instructions for how to do a thing, and tips and so forth. And you can put never with capital letters and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you can see down at the bottom there where it says
here.
Bottom of this one.
Yep.
There's supporting files,
Yep.
and you can say template.md is the requirements document that it's going to fill out.
Yep.
And then that SaaS platform.md is an example requirements document that would go into an examples directory. Okay.
Okay. So this is this is an artifact. It's going to produce something that looks like this, but is pertaining to a completely different project.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Now I generated a really fun thing earlier on. And I think probably if I just share my screen rather than go through it with you as well. So hang on, I'm going to present and share screen. We're going to allow that. And we're going to share a window.
Carbonic Tech says, is this essentially live streaming a podcast right now? Curious because it's got a logo. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It exists in Schrodinger's podcast state because if the recording ever gets uploaded to a podcast platform, it's a podcast. But it wouldn't make a lot of sense as a podcast because so much of it is screen sharing. But the logo is just part of our StreamYard setup that we haven't revisited. So, yeah.
Okay. So this was me wanting to create a command because one of the things we were talking about yesterday is the whole sort of branching and stuff.
Yeah.
And so this is a command I created where I can do a quick save. And it's either just before I finish a Claude Code session, I can just do /quick save, and it does a git commit and a git tag with the date and time.
Yep.
And it also writes into a devlog.md what we've done in that session and what we're doing next.
Yeah.
But I think actually I might split this into two commands.
Yeah.
So, and there'll be quick save and quit save, or /save : quick and /save : end or something. And so one of them will fill out the devlog, but the quick save thing is basically to be able to go, all right, we're about to make a change that I might want to revert. Literally in the same way that you used to press F5 when you were playing Doom to quick save just before you went in to try and kill a bunch of imps.
Yeah.
And so, yes, and I've given, so my instructions for my Claude on Claude thing include a thing to say search skills, or included a thing to say search skills MP, which is not in the allowed network domains for this container, which is really annoying. But yes, and it generated this quick save document here. And you can see that it's got the allowed tools. So let's look at it in raw format. Allowed tools, so you can use bash git add, bash git status, bash touch. You've got read and write permission on files, which allows it to write to devlog. This is the description, which will show up in Claude Code. And here we have the context. This is the commands that you can use. This bang thing here is saying this is a command for you to use. And then you've got the instructions, which is split into multiple steps. And then down at the end there, it's like writing a macro. It's like writing a plugin or something, but you're just kind of writing it in structured English, like we say, Markdown. It's a way of structuring English.
Yeah.
And so that is a command. So last thing that we're going to do before we actually jump into Claude Code and start going through this is you're going to go to, I'll stop sharing my screen. How do I do that?
I can just remove it from the state there. Done.
There we go.
All right.
And you go back to sharing your screen. So if you go back to your command prompt.
Yep. The command prompt or the Claude desktop thing?
The command prompt in this time. We're going to install something using npm.
Okay, let me crank that up a bit for the viewers at home.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're going to do npm
I
-g at fission-ai
Yep.
/OpenSpec.
Right. So before we do that, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to see what that is.
Really? I'm not just going to install an NPM package because I told you to.
If it was anybody else, definitely not. In this case, I'm just curious. The most loved spec framework. All right.
Yes.
A lightweight framework for spec-driven development. Okay. Look, it's a framework, so it must be good.
It is very lightweight.
I'm slightly surprised that NPM works.
So am I.
I must have put it on at some point for something.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So now if you create a folder for your project and then CD into there.
Yeah.
And now just run OpenSpec init. Okay.
All right.
Now you're going to press enter.
Yes.
And you're going to just go up, down. You're going to go down until you get to Claude Code, and then you're going to press enter.
So hang on. So this is, yeah. This is just set up whatever tools you want. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you could also install this into like OpenCode. OpenCode is quite a cool project. It's like an abstraction layer that's designed to run over all of these things. But yes, once you've done that, you can just press tab.
Yep. Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
And now you can open this folder in VS Code.
Yep.
And probably zoom in. There we go. And so, yes, you've got OpenSpec, which is where it's going to store its data. So that's effectively its database. And then you've got .claude, and you can see we've got commands and skills.
Yeah.
So this is a really, they kind of redid this whole thing. It wasn't commands and skills before. It was just a bunch of instructions files and so forth. Now there is the kind of structure and the standards are emerging that you have a commands directory with subdirectories and you have a skills directory and so forth. And they've basically refactored their entire thing to work this way. And so if you go into the like OPSX directory under commands, and just open up explore.md.
Yep.
Okay. So you can see at the top there, enter explore mode. Explore mode is for thinking, not implementing. You may read files, search code, and investigate the code base, but you must never write code or implement features. So what we're going to do is we're going to also create a prompts directory in here, probably at the top level.
Yep.
And then we'll go and grab our requirements analyst prompt from the directory where it was and just copy it into this directory.
So that's there. So just the
system prompt.
Requirements analyst system prompt, that one there.
Yes.
Okay.
So just grab that.
Into there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And now from the command line, we can run Claude space -- system -- prompt -- file. Prompts / and then that's it.
One. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I trust this folder. Yay.
Okay. And then we can just do /OPSX.
So OPSX is the
OpenSpec commands prefix. And then we're just going to say : explore. Oh, run /login.
Yeah.
That one. There you go. And then you can just use up to run things again. I always say, yeah, don't ask again for the OpenSpec stuff because it's non-destructive.
Yeah.
So if you run this in an existing project, it's kind of like doing the /init, and it goes off and it looks at the project, looks at the things that you're using, and all this sort of stuff. So we're going to do thread 1, what we're actually building. So just at this point, just give it a rough description of the thing that you want to build. But don't mention programming languages, don't mention frameworks, don't mention anything. Just what is the problem you are trying to solve?
Okay, so I am going to specify Windows because that is a hardware constraint. I need a thing for playing media files on Microsoft Windows that will support simultaneous playback of multiple isolated instrument tracks, stems in the same folder, as well as playing multiple video files onto multiple hardware displays and ensuring all files are played in sync.
Okay.
Yeah,
that works. Give it that. Now, for people viewing this, is there a way to tell it to minimize token use? Yes, you can. You can put things in your MD files to say minimize token use or don't do stuff.
What is the world this lives in?
It is for live performance. You can actually just press right arrow.
It's like the laptop will be on the stage in front of the musicians. The idea is that the laptop screen will display lyrics and chords while the external display shows visualizations and cool visual stuff. Sync needs to be
10 milliseconds.
Yeah.
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 There you go. Yes, the Jeffable. I think canoodling probably does have a different meaning in the US. In the UK, canoodling is something you do with your romantic partner.
Yes. 07 Rain says, wouldn't it be funny if the answer is download Ardour? I've never heard of Ardour. No, Ardour is a workstation. So this is Ardour. So this is a very specific requirement that everyone goes, oh, this thing can do it. And then once you actually work through, okay, who operates this and from where? The laptop is operated by a musician, but there will be no configuration or track changes during playback. individual track levels can be set in advance or between songs. Once the performer presses go via a so I know something it doesn't know, which is I know I have a foot pedal that Windows thinks is a keyboard.
Tell it
that. The track will just play until the end. Playback will be triggered by a keyboard, by a computer keyboard. Or something like a Logitech clicker. Okay, what other questions has it got?
Just press enter and it will keep asking.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, for people watching, if you're lucky enough that you can afford Macs or somebody is paying for Macs for you at your work, you would use the Opus model for this part of the process. We're using Sonnet because it will...
Dorothy's question, why don't you tell it that you're going to operate it via the foot pedal? The reason is that there are specific hardware foot pedals out there that connect via Bluetooth and do all kinds of things. And they are a spectacular pain in the ass because they all have weird proprietary protocols. So I actually built a physical foot pedal, which I can show you because it is here, that has an Arduino chip in it, and Windows thinks this is page up and page down. It has no idea it's a foot pedal. And so as far I want to avoid the whole weirdo let's getting into complication about proprietary hardware. Lyrics, time synced or manual advance? I didn't say anything about lyrics.
Yes, you did. You said lyrics and chords on the laptop display.
No. Lyrics and chords are included in a single video file that should be played in sync with the other tracks.
And then, well, I mean, at the moment we're doing stereo mix to PA, aren't we?
Yeah.
Also, anytime it says simpler, I tend to go, yeah, all right, let's do that.
Using Yep. There is there a sound engineer in the picture? Sound engineering will be done by the musicians before the show. There is no engineer available during the performance.
We wish. I mean, sometimes.
Incredibly curious as to where all of this is going to end up, you know.
Yeah.
Because there is a voice in the back of my head going, it's going to do it in React because it thinks you can do it. And I'm like, no, it's better than that. Surely we have advanced. Oh, that's quite neat. Okay, so let's make some decisions here. Okay. Each song will be in a folder named for the song name. it's already getting into the kind of things that, like, if I was building this as a proof of concept, I'd be like, just make it play one file in one folder at one time.
Yes. So this is the. Have you still got that song "Big Design Up Front" kicking around to the tune of "Design for Life"? Yeah, this is very much about big design up front.
Yeah. Folders. A set list is created by adding folders to a show. And it's like
a YAML file,
probably by dragging. Yeah, but it'd be easier if you could just drag them on.
Well, that's true.
Of the songs within the folder. We need a. It's okay to default to underscore lyrics going to the
laptop
primary display and underscore visuals going to the second external display. But this must be configurable for scenarios with 3 or 4 displays.
And FFmpeg's ffplay do all this. I am expecting once we get into the architect persona and start planning this, that it will be using something like ffmpeg, lib ffmpeg, or possibly like libgstreamer or something to handle all of these things.
I'd put money on libvlc.
Or libvlc is the other one, because we've got the video in there,
which is optimized for playback as opposed to. Okay.
So yeah, I love this. It does little ASCII diagrams and stuff. And yeah, so you got suffixes and whatever. So yeah, that's an interesting question about the routing config model. Suffix to display mapping sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And
per song assignment for I'm thinking through the edge. So the interesting thing about doing this is this is a real thing that I and we actually do. And so I am thinking, right, it is 6 p.m. You're in a sweaty little nightclub in the basement of whatever town the conference party is happening in. You've got no Wi-Fi. You are frantically plugging things in and trying to work out what's wrong with the PA system. And at the same time, trying to make sure all the things for the show are wired in and the external displays are working and everything is wired in. And I'm sort of thinking, what would be the right thing to do in terms of balancing, setting, I think hybrid here, global defaults and per song overrides.
Yeah.
So for the routing, use the hybrid approach, global defaults based on
okay.
If I just press enter, is it going to ask me the questions again?
It'll keep asking.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll sort of remove a question. And then, yeah, you can basically say there will never be no visuals video.
Yeah.
The show does get saved as a file.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. So yeah, cover the missing.
No, look. So it asked me questions about missing files and show persistence, and I answered one of its 4 questions. Okay, still a couple of open threads. Missing files, what's graceful? So for missing files, for missing audio, okay, so right. Missing audio is not a
valid scenario.
Missing audio will just play videos in silence with the option to unmute one or all video tracks for scenarios where all we've got is one video with audio included in the video file. Missing video files.
Leave screen blank.
Define a per show PNG image for each monitor. So we can put a PNG of the set list on the laptop screen to show between tracks, and a PNG poster ident image for the audience screens.
Love that. Oh yes, that thing where it's asking about the tech stack. I have an instruction in my system prompts for the requirements analyst to explicitly tell it not to do that.
Okay.
Which I forgot to mention because we were getting all excited. So just say, don't worry about the tech stack for now. Because we will discuss this with the architect.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so between songs, laptop screen, set list, posted up PNG lyrics. Yes. The ASCII art isn't lining up properly. I want a refund. No. This is unacceptable. Okay, when you unmute a video track, okay, so yes, if there are no WAV files, use the video audio. No requirement to mix videos audio stream with standalone audio streams. I'm like, the only reason I'm saying no requirement is because if I was implementing this, that would be complexity I didn't want to build. That's not a thing, is it? Like,
well, there is an issue though in that the audio from an MP4 file, synchronizing the audio from an MP4 file with stuff that is in WAV or MP3 files has the potential to be tricky from a technical perspective,
extract it, decode it, stick it in an array of samples, splice the samples together.
I suppose.
Once you've pulled the once you've extracted the data from the container format and you've decompressed it, it's just a bloody great array of 16-bit numbers. And all you really do to mix audio is you add the numbers together that are in this array element 0 with that array element 0 with that array element 0 with that array element 0.
Yes.
Let's make it additive. the audio tracks contained inside a video file should be Yep.
Okay, questions from the chat. Or comments from the chat. Instead of typing, Beamcard says you can use whisper flow and just voice to text this, a lot more effective. That is true. There are voice recognition plugins and things that you can use to do this stuff. There are a couple of issues with it. One is that voice recognition is very, very, very good, but it's still far from perfect. And two, we've seen as Dylan goes along, he kind of like types a sentence, then thinks better of it, and then deletes it and types something else. And that level of, you can't do that if you're talking to it, and you can't just go, oh no, hang on a minute, scrap that, I don't want to. So we tend to be much more precise and clear when we are typing things. It engages different parts of the brain than talking. And so for somebody who is comfortable typing, for a developer in particular, I think this typing workflow is more appropriate.
From controls, map page down to next track.
Oh, no, don't.
No?
No. This again is architect.
Okay. You mean scrub that as well?
Yeah, that's it. No. Just give it that.
It's asking me about what buttons should go map to.
Yeah, no, that's also not in scope for this discussion.
Okay. Show persistence. Save each show as a file. That can be copied around and opened as needed. For controls, one button should cue the next track and then begin playback. The other should pause and then rewind. I need a state diagram for this.
Yeah, it'll do it for you.
All right.
So yes, Dorothy Hawley says, it feels like you're editing what you're thinking, like your idea is bigger than you can get down into the prompts, and it isn't necessarily asking the right questions all the time. So yes, you are right, but it is, for me personally, when I'm going through this process, I find it asks more questions than I would think of if I were just sitting there trying to write a requirements document. It's kind of guiding you through the process. But the other point is that at the end of this, it is going to write requirements.md, which we can then read to make sure it makes sense. And we can edit it, we can come back to Claude and go, hey, I want to talk through this a bit more, or whatever, if there are ambiguities or inconsistencies. And even following that, our architect persona that we are going to create will have instructions say you are going to read the requirements.md, ask clarifying questions, and then work with the user to choose a tech stack and design the software and plan the project. If the architect comes up with questions that we should have dealt with during requirements analysis, and we can actually give this as an instruction to the architect as well. We can say, if there's something that the requirements are unclear, then please tell the user to go back to the requirements analyst, and so forth. So yes, Jeffable, yes, it does seem to be very high-tech rubber ducking at times. Absolutely.
It's high-tech rubber ducking, but then the rubber duck writes the code.
Yes.
So you spend all the time explaining it to the duck, and then you don't actually, once you've figured it out, yeah. At least that is the scenario we are currently validating.
Yes.
Okay, 2 edge cases. Does it wrap back to song 1? End of set list.
Display the PNG.
Display the PNGs. Song selection. Click directly in the laptop UI. Although that does bring up the requirement that the user needs to be able to use the UI on the laptop while the secondary display is still showing the poster image.
So yeah, Fighty Cars has noticed cases where it goes down rabbit holes. This is true. This is happening less and less as the models get better. Opus 4.5 was better than Opus 4.0 for this. Gemini 3, so Google's model, Gemini 3 is much, much better than Gemini 2.5 was. Gemini 2.5 would get stuck in loops. I once shouted at Gemini 2.5 to the point where I had to delete its memory because it had a confidence crisis and just became depressed. And I do it again, damn it. But yes, there are still times where it will kind of like go down a rabbit hole. You can either just, as part of the prompt, so just or as part of the conversation, go, look, just forget, don't worry about it. We'll sort it out later.
So forget the setlist PNG, because if the playlist is visible in the eye, the laptop screen can just show the UI in between songs, while the audience monitor shows the poster PNG.
Yeah. And so yes, Fighter Cars would not be able to give up the precision of writing text. Again, this is the output of this is the requirements.md document. And so you get to go in and edit that, and you can add precision, correct things, whatever at that point. Dorothy, how much of this is OpenSpec, how much is Claude, and how much is the bit you made at the beginning? Very little of this is OpenSpec. OpenSpec's got, I think there's a skill in there about the explore step, and it's kind of giving it some very clear instructions about how to ask questions and so forth. A bigger chunk of it is, the biggest part of it, I think, is a combination of Claude and the system prompt that we created to tell it it's a requirements analyst. I'm not even going to try and answer that question about kilohertzes and 50% volumes and everything else. GFA basic is that's a Dylan style question.
Mean. So what you would normally do to add together, so basically a single frame of audio sample is just a 16-bit number. And if you are combining them into a mono channel, so you take the mean, you're like, well, let's add the amount of bass plus the amount of drum plus the amount of vocal plus the amount of keyboard, and then divide that number by 4, because that tells you really all you're doing is you are telling a loudspeaker where it has to be in space at that exact point in time to like 44.1 thousand samples per second. That's what 44.1 kilohertz sampling is. And so sound is if you have a very high frequency, like if you could hear 44.1 kilohertz, actually 22.5 because of Nyquist's sampling thing. If you were playing a 22 kilohertz sine wave through a speaker and you looked at the WAV file, it would be 2 to the 16, 0, 2 to the 16, 0, 2 to the 16, 0, because you're making that speaker go 22,500 times every second. And so that 2 to the 16 is the biggest number you can get in that level of precision of file. So if you're adding together multiple waveforms, you have to average them, because if you overflow it, then yeah, the loudspeaker doesn't go to that position. Audio is one of those things that the actual arithmetic of, once you've worked out how to sample it and how to combine it and everything, it's literally just, hey, how loud is it now? 44,000 times a second. And yeah, so yes, it would be the mean of all the different signal input waveforms. There are different algorithms that do not use like a pure arithmetic mean, because you want to favor certain frequencies during this is the process of mastering, is taking the mix and going, well, how much of all of this do we actually want to put on the tape or the master for the, making the record? But that is not, like, if I have to answer that question, then the AI has failed to solve the problem. Because at that point, it's like that's one of the rudimentary kind of, there is established stuff here. Okay, files, audio can be WAV, MP3 or AF, video, assume H.264 in an MP4 container. Also, See, I want to tell it that we could give it a Matroska file with 15 audio files and 2 video files in it, because you can do that.
No,
Matroska is a multi-track container format.
Yeah, we could maybe add that later.
Yeah. Single display mode, just show the primary display laptop UI or primary video file. Multiple shows. Yep, each show should be a
.show file.
.show file, and you can open whichever one you need for today. Right. I'm going to suggest we take a very short break, because
yes,
I'm going to go. Do you have a hard stop on today?
No.
Cool. It's 3:45. I'm probably good to run until 5.
Yeah. Okay. That works for me.
Right. Well, I'm going to play one of my little silly YouTube videos while we take a break for 3 minutes and 22 seconds, and I make a fresh cup of coffee, because that takes me 2 minutes and 47 seconds because I timed
Cool
it.
beans.
Yes. We'll be back in 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
Anyone else has? I'm going to scroll up and see if there are any other questions that have come up. And any plans to make Rockstar apps using AI? I was thinking about this yesterday. Rockstar is such a weird programming language, because Dylan is such a weird person. But so it's the numeric literals that I think would cause the most problems for an LLM. It would be interesting to try it, but I don't know if you remember, I think it was only about this time last year, and people were going, oh, if you ask ChatGPT how many R's there are in the word strawberry, it doesn't know, because words are vectors and it's not sort of looking at words. And so writing Rockstar code where numeric literals are words with the number of letters for that digit's position modulo 10, I think it would really struggle to write numeric literals for like FizzBuzz. or something.
Hello.
So yes, Dorothy asks, would you put testing requirements in this step too? No, that will be part of the architect step. And then we're going to get sued by Ableton. That's all right. We'll just we'll create a lawyer.md file and get Claude to defend us. And Kirsty Pollock is looking forward to the eventual song about all of this. I mean, we've already got Code It with Vibes.
Yeah.
But yes, there will be more songs about this side of things. So yes, hello, welcome back.
Yes. Cool. Right. What we got? Yep. Audio, all sources are independently mixable to stream by headphone jack. Levels are set pre-show, locked and playback.
It's basically saying you can't change the levels.
Well, which kind of you can't because the screen is showing something else at that point. Yeah, which is fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yep. Yes. Yeah. 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 All right.
Yeah.
Hit it.
So now it's going to say, oh no, I can't generate the requirements document because I'm in explore mode and I'm not allowed to create files.
Okay.
And then you'll basically go, well, just exit explore mode then. It's so weird. You can sort of do kind of slash commands and tab and there are sort of various things. So another thing to mention here is that some of this kind of functionality and the OpenSpec stuff and Spec-Driven, there are kind of limited versions of this that are built into Claude. There's like plan mode or built into Claude Code. There's plan mode and create mode. I can't remember what the other one's called, edit mode probably. But yeah, OpenSpec creates a much more explicit flow over all of this and standard ways of working. And there are other tools available. Should say that OpenSpec I've tried a few and I always end up coming back to OpenSpec. It works very well for me and the way I think and the way I approach projects. And using it across multiple projects saves a lot of the additional mental load if you're not having to remember all these different things. Oh yeah, there you go. So now you can say yes, allow edits. I assume we'll do that. I am confused about how this works in real life because I thought all the programmers were playing their instruments, or am I missing something? So the way Line Breakers works as a band is it used to be that a conference would book a subset of the Line Breakers as speakers at a conference, and then whatever subset that was would get up on stage at the attendee party and play. That has recently become more like when enough line breakers are going to a place, we've started actually trying to book out bars on the evening of the last day of the conference, just because the vibe's better and you're sure that the people who come along definitely want to be there, and we've not had problems getting enough people to come along to make it a good night and buy enough booze and all that sort of thing. But it is still dependent on who got selected. So, for example, we're currently scouting for we have people scouting for a venue in Copenhagen on the Thursday evening after NDC Copenhagen. And it will be whatever subset of the line breakers either are speaking at the conference or decide that they're just going to spend their own money to get there and because they want to play in the gig. And so we've had gigs where it's just me and Dylan. Dylan's had plenty of gigs where it's him and Vagif, the keyboard player, or just Dylan and Hannes.
I've had plenty of gigs where it's just me.
He does do things solo.
And at the moment,
yeah.
Whenever we do one of these, I have to go into Logic and I have to open up 15 or 20 projects, mute an instrument, mix out a mastered backing track version with the right combination of tracks for whoever is in town that day, which you can't do in advance because people miss flights or get sick or get called away and have to work. And so it's all very, very last minute. And so I would love to just be able to do that on the afternoon and go, right, we don't have any keyboards today. Click keyboards on for everything. So cool. All right.
Yes.
Anyway.
Bass players having a nervous breakdown.
Well, bass players do that.
They do. It's a very stressful job. Yes.
All right.
Okay. So now just /exit.
I love the way the highest risk open questions are path portability and tech stack. Do you remember that XKCD of I want you to take a photograph and tell me, was it taken in a national park? And is it a bird? And they're like, well, national park is 30 seconds with GPS coordinates. And is it a bird is 5 years of a postgraduate research team doing it.
Yes, yes.
What do we start a new change?
No, we're just going to exit now.
Okay, how do we do that?
/exit. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now we can go back to Claude Desktop.
Well, hang on. First of all.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, it thought of a name for it all by itself.
That's not the right name.
It's not the right name, but if you wanted to change it, now would be a good time. There we go.
See? Human in the loop.
Yes.
The machines can't take over. Yep. All right.
At some point.
Never mind.
At some point.
If you could get it to do MIDI, then you could get it to change the patches on all of the HX stomps that were attached. Yeah.
Oh, good God. I mean, at some point, I want to get it to route tab to augmented reality glasses.
Yeah.
Over the Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
Because that would be cool. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. Also, at some point, it should mix all but one of the tracks to a stereo mix, which can be sent to front of house. But it should also support outputting a click track through an audio interface that can be run into the mixer that we have on stage so that the musicians can have the click track in their mix without the audience hearing it, which will make it a damn sight easier for me to stay on beat in Seven Nation Army.
Yes. I mean, there's lots of places where having a click that only the band can hear would make it for a much more impressive show.
Yes. It runs right, the entire time.
I'm sort of scrolling through this, much the same as reading the terms and conditions on the iTunes store, where they're like...
Yes.
Okay. Right.
So, yeah.
Next.
This is, I believe, what is called a functional requirements document.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Open questions. Windows version, tech stack. How is the app distributed and installed?
Oh, yeah. You are the product owner, obviously.
Yeah.
We don't create a product owner persona.
Yep.
But now we're going to pop back to Claude Desktop and create an architect persona.
Okay.
So if you open up the projects thing, and then click Customizing Claude, and then I would go into Instructions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to click the edit thing.
Yep.
And take out skills and commands from that thing there. No,
Okay.
actually just change it to and to or.
Yep.
And then save instructions. I think that
Yep.
might. And then in the prompt, so we're starting a new chat now. This is the.
So just to recap, so previously we used this prompt, create a system prompt to configure Claude. So okay, so let me see if I can get this one right. So we want to go into projects. We're in that project. Our instructions, skills, or commands.
Yeah.
And I want to create a system prompt to configure Claude Code as a technical
solution architect. Yeah, technical architect or solution architect, whatever.
Who can
read
a requirements document and produce a technical spec.
Yeah.
And implementation plan for delivering the software described by the requirements.
Yeah.
Also, the architect should be a heavily accented Belgian man called Jan. Because it would just put that in the tokenizer with all the rest of it, wouldn't it? It would make no difference. Okay. Yep.
So the architect should work collaboratively with the user, who is the product owner.
Who is also the end user in this project.
And we'll choose the tech stack, libraries, testing approach, and other technical details.
Yeah. YOLO?
Yep.
How do I see how many tokens I have left?
Oh, God knows. Does anyone in chat know that?
Or how do I see how close we are to it saying you need to go away now and come back tomorrow?
In Claude Code, do /context. Oh, no.
How do I see how many more things I can do before I run out of daily Claude? And you tell me to come back when tomorrow.
You'll get a warning notification in the UI when you're approaching it.
I want to know how far away the warning.
Yeah, no, doesn't do that. I'll tell you what, while the other thing, though, is is doing what it's doing,
yeah,
I'm going to teach you about MCPs.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Does slash usage do anything? So I just want to take a moment. This is it saying there's no perfect answer. It's a no UX gap in the product. But then it would appear that slash usage just goes, it's that much. It's weird.
Okay.
All right. Yes, MCPs.
So yes. I'm just trying to find.
There we go. I got one
thing. Various ways of running Serena. Do you have UV installed on your Windows machine?
I don't even know what UV is.
Oh, UV is a Python runtime management tool.
No.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. I got there. Okay. Yeah. Exit. UV. No. Do I even have Python installed? No.
Right.
What is Python?
Okay, so yeah,
what? Yeah.
So, Christ, where'd you get UV from? Right, link coming in chat. So yes.
Oh, hang on. Which chat?
In the StreamYard.
Astral.show/UV. Yeah. All right. Gotcha. Yep.
Okay, and then just go to installation. And Windows, obviously, because you know. And there you go.
Yay.
And then, yeah, so
it's already in my path because we added that yesterday.
Yeah, so now just do UV and it should display the help.
Yep.
And then UV space Python.
Yep.
-- help or -H. And then you can.
What's the objective here? What are we working towards?
Basically, this is a thing that lets you download multiple versions of Python.
Mm-hmm. Why do we need multiple versions of Python?
Exit, because a lot of the MCP servers that we use for day-to-day things are written in Python.
Okay.
And one in particular, which is called Serena.
Yep.
Which is an LSP. So it gives Claude Code in this instance access to the LSP for various different languages, including JavaScript and whatever else. That is the one, indeed. Yep.
Okay.
And so, yeah,
Okay.
Serena. So yes, anyway, the point is, if we can using the model context, Serena can be integrated with an LLM in several ways using the model context protocol, which is what we are going to use. the model context protocol is a way of creating a tool that runs externally that the agent can interact with, and then you can configure a launch command in your client, and then we can go to Claude Code, and then I can bung that link to you as well. So I will put it in the chat. Yes, I believe it is possible to run these things in Docker, but Serena in particular does need access to.
It is impossible to actually click a link if you're in the StreamYard stream interface.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'll bang it into Signal. There you go.
Yeah, that'll work. All right, got it.
From there.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the cool thing here is that you can just copy that Claude MCP add. So you can add this on a project by project basis, or you can add it globally. The default instruction is, what does that say at the end there? The -- context.
Claude Code.
Yeah. Oh, right. So, the project is the present working directory. So, yeah, Claude MCP add Serena is like subcommands inside Claude. Yep. So Claude MCP is a subcommand, and then add says add a new one. Serena is just giving it a name. Then you have the -- and then everything after that is the command line to run the thing. And so that will use UVX. You probably know NPX, which is the NPM thing. So UVX is the same. It's kind of like just grab this and run it. And so yeah, if you just do UV list though quickly.
Let me just hide that. So UV list.
UV Python list. Sorry. And so, yeah, those are the ones that you can install. I generally use, UV install 3.12.
UV Python install.
Python install 3.12.
Just 3.12 and it'll find the most.
That should find it. Yeah, there you go. Defaults to C Python if it's multiple versions. So that is now the only version of Python that is available to UVX. I just don't know what happens if you run UVX without it. Oh, okay. Just do UV Python -- help quickly.
There'll be like a UV Python use or something, won't there? Will there? Pin?
What's pin? Yeah, try that. There you go. No, it's still doing it. Okay, just do UV by itself because there might be. Actually, so I wouldn't worry too much about this because UVX will still work. It will find the thing that is needed. So right, how's the desktop thing doing with its architect.md file?
Yeah, we've got our technical architect system prompt.
So yeah, you can open that in Typora.
All right. Okay. And this now goes into
if you go back to your VS Code thing, prompts and just create a new
file called technical architect -system -prompt. Is that the
it can be called, I mean, we're explicitly pointing at it. I literally just have analyst.md, architect.md.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You are not here to simply code. You are here to think deeply, ask the right questions. Yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah, I would take out simply. I would say you are not here to code. We're not going to use this persona to write code.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Now just there you go. Requirements.md. Read requirements.md.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah. Okay. So now we can copy this.
So it's in the prompts, in the video jam folder. Requirements is there.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So we can go back to the command line.
Yep.
And we can do Claude. No, exit.
Yep.
Okay. Claude -- system -- prompt -- file. And then prompt / tech.
Yep.
There you go. And that's it. And then I think at this point,
a localhost browser window just opened up saying that
yes,
Serena
it did.
Is ready.
So this is showing you that Serena is now loaded, and you can kind of, it's like the developer tools for the MCP that's running. I wouldn't worry about it. It's we don't actually need it until we're doing code writing. Just to come back to it very, very quickly, though, because I'm not sure we're actually going to get to code writing today. We might have to come back to this tomorrow. But the thing with Serena, and what it's doing is wrapping and exposing language server protocols. So in the using .NET as an example, that would be Roslyn. Okay. And it gives the ability for finding, navigating, go to reference, go to definition, find usages, and refactoring. And the reason that you use it is it massively reduces the number of tokens that are used. If you say to a thing, you got like 100 C# files in your solution, and you can tell the AI to rename a class. It will load every single file into the context window. And then it will go through and do stuff. If it knows it's got Serena, and it knows it's got it now, then when you tell it to do certain things, like rename that class to something else or rename that property, it will use the LSP to do it if it's supported. And Serena is, there may be others out there. I've not had a reason to stop using Serena so far. It works with all the languages that I use. So yes, now here's the fun thing.
Very basically, Serena is the equivalent of doing like F2 to rename a symbol rather than doing a Control-H search and replace across your entire project.
Yeah, exactly.
And consequently does not need to feed every file into the context, and so it doesn't use anything like, okay, I got it,
Yeah, so it is a cost-saving exercise, and it's also a time-saving exercise. So because that system prompt said when the user tells you to start, you should just be able to type begin and...
Yes, allow reading stuff.
Oh, good Lord. Somebody in chat has setting up a new iPhone. Actually, that shouldn't be too bad. It's only existed for like 6 weeks. So, yeah. It is absorbing and digesting our requirements document.
Okay. Right, minimum Windows version, Windows 11. Whatever version was shipped in. I don't even, that's like 21H2, or they were stupid numbers now, haven't they?
Yeah. Windows 11 is kind of, it's generally just the current version.
Windows 11, fine. If there's a specific reason why we'd need a specific release of Windows 11, tell me what it is.
Again, just do one at a time.
Yep, okay. Displayed
yeah.
the audio must not stop. Using a known good test set of MP4 plus audio files. No diagnostic feature is required. It's grooving now, look at that.
Yes, at least it's not canoodling.
Is that a busy day? It's done some extemporizing, some canoodling.
Just once I want to see it firing up the bong. You could probably add that to the system prompt, actually. Use these instead of your present participle, what you're doing verbs.
So somebody asked in the chat a little while ago, what do you do when you're waiting for Claude to do its thing?
I go and check on one of the other Claudes. This is to refer back to David Whitney's recent blog post when he says mentally exhausted. That is one of the reasons that it is mentally exhausting, is it lets you do multiple things at the same time.
Yeah.
And again, this is particularly true with a max subscription, the £180 a month subscription, because it's really hard to use up the 5-hour limit of tokens.
That's interesting. Pardon me.
Interesting. So it's talking about using libVLC, but with as native binaries.
Yeah.
I think you probably scroll back up. There's stuff off the top. Okay. Good grief. Look at this. Right. There we go.
Okay, from here. So all open questions. Windows, and yes, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Tech stack recommendation. C# with .NET 8. Why 8?
Because it's probably the LTS that Claude knows about.
Well, that's a little.
You can push back on it and say why .NET 8 and not 10. I would certainly, there's a very good reason why not 9, which is that it's not LTS.
Yeah.
But why not 10 is a thing. Windows Presentation Foundation.
I just want to take a moment, just a little moment, to feel a little bit good about myself, because when I started building this thing by hand last year, I got to the point of I need libVLC sharp and probably N-Audio's mixing sample provider.
Yeah.
And then I got too busy to go any further with it. But it's sort of nice to know that at least we came up with the same answer. And one of us is made out of meat and runs on spaghetti, and the other one is a data center the size of Utah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you couldn't be kind of happy about that. I think the rest of us can be kind of impressed that a stochastic parrot has come to the same conclusion as a very experienced and
I think the thing that is more curious to me is oh, that's nice. Is I had sort of assumed that the right answer to this would be C++. Because the reason I picked up .NET for it when I started playing is because it's what I know, and I was looking for library bindings for it. Okay, .NET 8, read .NET 10.
I think, and to sort of drop out of Claude for a moment, two things. When you're using like libVLC sharp or whatever, the performance of .NET and in particular the pinvoke, sort of the interop with native binaries is so good now that it's kind of a struggle to find a good reason to use C++ or Rust or whatever, certainly for a desktop application, but also having it generate code that you can read with the least friction possible is not a bad idea.
I mean, my whole, one of the questions that is very interesting to me is, do you get to a point where for something trivial, like you just want to make a button a little bit bigger, do you just open the WPF, XAML file and make the button bigger? Or do you open up Claude and go, hey, make that button a little bit bigger?
I open up. It's honestly quite weird. Yesterday, after we had done something, I was just finishing something off, but I still had an hour to go before Claude reset, because I'm currently suffering with a pro subscription. Please, somebody send me money for a max subscription. I'm going to start a Patreon or a GoFundMe. GoFundMe to buy Claude tokens.
Hang on a sec. So Invisibles says, if you answered my previous question, did we see Invisible's previous question? I don't know if I did.
Hang on, where are they?
By all means, ask the question again, Invisibles, and if we haven't answered it, we will.
Back up.
And the Jeffable says you're booked to play the O2 Arena, and they got a clause about connecting software to their network or requiring. You don't connect it to the network. You want as few moving parts as possible.
Yeah, no, 5G.
Actually, the really annoying thing about this entire setup is
sorry, carry on.
Is getting the whole thing to work completely standalone, disconnected. Then you get into the venue, you're like, I should put some Spotify on, and realize you've forgotten to download the playlist that you've made for the evening. And so then you need to connect to Wi-Fi just to get the Spotify thing. So Invisibles.
So this is the question, and this is an excellent question. So, and I know that a lot of junior and sort of even becoming senior programmers are concerned about this. Yes, the AI does write code at a level above yours. I'll be completely honest with you. I've used AI to write Objective-C and Swift and Kotlin and Java code specifically for iOS and Android projects. I've used it to write Zig code. And I don't know any of those languages. I can read them. I can understand what the code is doing, and occasionally I can ask a question of the thing and say, what is this? What's that line there for? What's it doing? And it explains it to me. But in terms of growing as a programmer, like we were talking about at the start of this thing, what programmer means is in a state of flux at the moment.
Yeah.
And what I was just about to say, actually, yesterday I had an hour to go and I didn't have time to wait and something. And so I had to just open JetBrains Rider and go in and edit some C# code manually and do some refactoring and stuff.
With your hands?
And with my hands and
like
typing.
Like an animal with hands?
Yeah.
And an IDE.
And, I mean, I literally had to press Alt-Enter like a couple of dozen times and accept the first option. But yeah, the important skill to maintain is the ability to read code. And I would say if you are able to look at the code that Claude or whatever tools you're using is producing and realize that it is at a level above yours, you can probably read it perfectly well. I would say I am making sure that I understand and can read different paradigms. So functional code, squiggly C-like code, so JavaScript, C#, Java, to a certain extent, you know, like Go, Rust, those sorts of things. And sort of work through the basic syntax for any language that you're using. Python is the one I'm having the most fun with. I'm having to kind of like brush up my Python, which I haven't used since like 3.4, I think was the last time I did anything in anger with Python. And now we're on 3.14, which why that isn't called Python with an I don't understand. Just what? Why? That's such an anyway. But yes, I'm having to brush up on my Python because I can use and AIs. They're really good at Python because there is so much Python on the internet for them to have learned from. But yeah, it's kind of I'm having to brush up on it. I'm having to learn how gRPC in Python works. My major side project at the moment is a AI assistant. And the back end is a Python application which uses the MLX framework to run voice recognition, voice generation, and an LLM, specifically on a Mac using the MLX libraries in Python, and then wraps all that with the gRPC service.
It is
it would have taken me 3 months to write it, but it took an afternoon to generate it and then a day to read it and understand it.
The idea like grow as a programmer, I think it's a really good observation. What it is to be a programmer is in a state of flux, but the fundamental, let's very, very brutally say that there are two completely different types of programming. There is programming as a craft, and there is programming as a way of delivering something that people will pay money for.
Yes.
You know, we're going to use a furniture analogy just for a moment. A lot of people make their own furniture. It is more expensive and takes longer than buying it from IKEA, and it costs them money to do that. They do not make a living. They often make a loss from the act of creating their own furniture, but they still do that because it has value to them as a way of spending time and a way of being able to look around, you know, your home and be like, I made that, I made that, I made that. And there is this sort of vast spectrum. Now, the problem with programming, I think, is it has, for certainly my entire career, it has been so lucrative that the idea that anybody who is good at it doesn't do it for a living is almost a joke. And I think that's probably what is finished. I think this is probably, you know, I was chatting to my brother. My brother is a very keen golfer. And there are all these things human beings do for fun. Mine is music. And there is no longer any money in music unless you're Taylor Swift. It is almost impossible to make a living as a musician unless you are incredibly lucky and incredibly talented and incredibly on top of all of the things like social media and distribution rights and lawyers, and are still prepared to go out and graft and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a bunch of people out there going, but, you know, I'm a working musician. Anytime, you know, people play shows for free or they put free music on the internet, they're taking away my livelihood. And I'm like, yeah, but music is really fun. It's, you know, totally cool that people expect that they have to earn money and then spend the money having fun. And, you know, our band is a bit like my brother's golf habit. None of us is ever going to get paid to do it, no matter how hard we've tried, but we're not going to stop. And I think programming is becoming a bit like that. There is always going to be things that technology can do that grease the wheels of capitalism in some form or other. And it is really interesting looking at how much of the stuff on the internet is like like a price aggregator site that scrapes all the different people in the neighborhood that are selling used cars is a big deal. Like, there are companies who that's all they do is they get all the data about all the cars and they put it on a website, and they have an app and they have an everything, and they employ dozens of engineers just to tell you how much the used cars cost. And yeah, that's going to stop being a thing, because now the agents can just get the data from, and the question is, well, where are they going to get the data from? And how do they know that it's accurate? And these are all, you know, big sort of open questions. But I think as long as you kind of maintain the understanding of the code that you're writing, why does it matter, and who's using it and what are they using it for? And, you know, one of the interesting, the kind of events that we do, you know, conferences and things, a lot of the sponsors at those events are like, well, here's a human being who's actually happy because they just had a really nice steak dinner that they paid for. And so this is the restaurant that cooked the steak dinner, and this is the company that delivers the food to the restaurant, and this is the accounting department that manages that company, and this is the software company that builds the tools for the accounting department. And that's our customer over here, because we build productivity tools for software engineers who are building financial applications that they sell to logistics companies that deliver steak to restaurants where real people actually pay money to have a good time. And you're like, holy shit, that's a lot of steps to Kevin Bacon, you know? And I think that you need to look at all the elements in that chain and be like, which one of these is going to disappear? And when it does, you know, I don't think people are going to stop going out to dinner anytime soon. The music analogy isn't very good. All analogies are really good up until the point where they become terrible. And the reason musicians aren't reaping the profits of their work come down to economic developments that could be changed through regulation. Yeah, but they're not, are they? Because governments are all bastards.
Yes, I mean, late-stage capitalism is a whole other discussion.
The biggest problem, in a nutshell, with the idea of music as an industry is that everybody on this planet can sing for free, and singing is fun, and playing instruments is fun, and music can be replicated at zero cost. And so the idea that being able to record a song once in a studio and become a millionaire on the back of it is complete nonsense that somehow just became a standard operating model over the last 100 years or so, but it doesn't actually make any sense in an age where digital distribution means anybody can hear anything anytime for fractions of a penny, you know. Yes. Anyway, let's go back to talking about .NET.
Right, let's go back to talking about .NET. Sorry, one last comment for Invisibles. The stuff you know about programming, being able to break things down, being able to think algorithmically about how to achieve something. If you have those, then sort of following along here, and there's several good guides on YouTube. There are courses. I am thinking of putting together something myself on how to transition from being a programmer who reads a specification and types code to being a software engineer. And I think that job title is probably going to become more and more appropriate. It's an engineering discipline. And how to use AI tools to do that. But yes, don't worry. The need for software at the moment is much greater than the need for than the number of developers who are out there to actually build it.
There is certainly things are objectively worse right now if you're trying to get paid to do anything related to software than they were 2 or 3 years ago. But you know, people they're not spending any money while they figure out what the future looks like. And the problems are still there, and I think some of the money is still there. They can't have spent all of it on data centers. So yet.
Yes. So I don't know how you feel about its decision on the tech stack. Personally, I would push back on WPF and ask it about Avalonia.
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah, but no, but yeah, but yeah.
Actually, there's 2 reasons, and one of them you won't like, and one that you will.
Yes.
So the reason that you won't like, is that Avalonia is all sort of modern and funky and cross-platform, and really what WPF meant when it said WPF. But the other reason is from personal experience with WPF. In terms of the display, doing anything at kind of synchronized. I tried to put a clock in an application once that displayed milliseconds, or 24ths of a second, I think it was. And I ended up pulling in a goddamn Chrome web view and writing the clock in JavaScript because WPF could not handle the frame synchronization. You know, it just would not do 60 frames a second.
My assumption, based on the sort of experimentation I've done with this, is that all WPF is going to be responsible for doing in terms of video playback is to put a window on a screen and tell VLC Sharp, draw your stuff in that, because VLC Sharp does not go through WPF to do its rendering. It has a native canvas frame buffer.
All right.
But I'm also presuming that if it is completely the wrong thing and doesn't work, we can just backtrack to here and start again with an technical spec. I'm just going to actually ask it, what if we decided to use Avalonia? The reason why I'm hesitant on that is boring is a killer feature. WPF is dull as shit, and that probably means that it works. And I do not think cross-platform is likely to be a consideration given the audio subsystems are completely different on Linux, Windows, and Mac.
All right. Yes, that is a good point. You wouldn't be using Wasabi on there. And Claude agrees with you.
Yep.
Critical integration point is passing a native window handle. In WPF, this is trivial. In Avalonia, it's possible, but it's less battle tested.
Yeah.
And has a few. Yeah, no, okay, that's yeah. Okay, yeah.
If there's any chance, even a vague future intention.
I wouldn't.
No.
Because it's not going to be a costly UI rewrite later. It's going to be WPF, you mean?
Sorry.
You can just press escape if you want it. I think escape twice.
Right, C#.NET 10, WPF, NAudio with Wasapi. Yep. I'll now write technical spec. This will take a moment.
It's a substantial
So Martin says, on-demand software is the thing that will change that. Explicitly select plan mode. You should also tell it to make an explicit UI separation. It won't do it if you don't do that. Have you enabled Claude Teams? I've been using Claude Code now for a total of about 4 hours. So
yeah, on-demand software is terrifying, and we're not there yet. That's at least 6 months away. I don't know.
What is on-demand software in this context?
When you need something, you ask for it,
and it just
does it.
Yeah. It's not terrifying.
It's the other thing, and this bothers me a little bit, but then at the same, there's a transition. A lot of the time, I think you kind of touched on this earlier on.
Yeah.
You write a piece of software to achieve a goal which an agent can just do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, go and find all the cars that are for sale in this area, and it'll just come back with a list. And so once we get to the point where that's like functioning properly, and hopefully we're using these like meta surfaces on glass to reduce the power consumption and all this sort of thing, we'll just use our agents to do things for us, and we'll all have like Jarvis. I mean, I'm literally trying to build Jarvis mixed with the demons from his Dark Materials.
Yeah.
And so, why would you use Gmail when you've got an assistant that reads your Gmail for you and says, "Oh, this looks important. I'll tell you about this."
Yeah.
And handholds you through doing something about it or following the steps and that sort of thing. Did you see the WebMCP has just been enabled in the latest version of Chrome? It's in there as an experimental feature.
I did not.
So it's a new web standard. You know, the whole semantic web thing where you've got like section and header and article and whatever else. So it's kind of like that on steroids to tell agents how to interact with web content. So instead of sort of lovely formatting and CSS and all this kind of thing. I mean, I think there's a thing that Cloudflare or somebody have done where it like understands the semantic intention of a page and converts it into bloody Markdown so that agents can read it more easily. And so WebMCP is kind of that, but it's also like, here's how to fill the form in to create an account and whatever else is going on. And so, yeah, the time of Word and headers and all this sort of stuff and email and Slack and all these things that we use for all these things. I've got to give a talk on the 7th of March about what I think software development is going to look like in 35 years. I don't think there's going to be software development in 35 years. I think we'll either all be dead or we'll be on our way to that utopia where we're all watched over by machines of loving grace. Because,
I think
God,
both of those are far too clean.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, let's bounce through the comments. On-demand software, yeah. Yeah. And like, to me, I've spent my entire life like building little tools to solve problems that I have that are just for me. So democratizing that is, you know, someone builds an app to track your shopping list. Well, yeah, fine. What it means is that the people who are like, oh, I'm going to put a shopping list app on the App Store and make $1 million are like, oh, no, I'd better think of something hard. But
yeah,
that I think is just a sort of, you know, a course correction.
I do think, you know, people will create games and AI may do a lot of the hard, sort of the heavy lifting of designing graphics and all that sort of stuff. But the thing of dreaming up the fundamental, it's like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So you can create your own scenario in Dungeons and Dragons. It's a framework for making your own game. Yeah. And you can buy games. There are people who design games and maps and dungeons and whatever, and then you can download that as a PDF file and you can guide other people through it. But yeah, I've got a couple of ideas for games that I've always wanted to do, and there's a version of Unity coming up, which is going to have AI built into the editor, and I will actually be able to make my game. And it's kind of, I've got an idea for something that I think would be a fun mechanic for a game to play on your mobile phone that I don't think anybody's done. I kind of just want it to exist.
Yeah.
But then I can stick it on the App Store and I can go, hey, I made a thing. You can play it if it's fun or whatever. Yeah. And yeah. And at some point, somewhere in all of this, there's universal basic income. Can Claude Code do Unreal yet? I don't know. It can do Unity. I know it can work with Unity applications. I suspect it can probably work with Unreal applications as well. Not least because Epic have put quite a lot of Unreal code on GitHub now.
Set the environment variable Claude Code experimental agent teams equals 1. Maybe later. I'm still wrapping my head around whatever is coming up. Says, Martin, are you going to DDD North? I'm not going to DDD North because I'm going to be at State of the Browser at the Barbican, which is the first time in about 10 years that I have paid money for a ticket to attend a software development conference, because I think it's quite a good one.
Martin, by the way, who appears to have just turned up and started spamming the chat. Martin, you ridiculously tall dwarf. Martin's recommendations here, I think, are based on the assumption that you have Claude Max 20 times. So yes, there are sub-agents. There's all sorts of stuff that we can do. There's the Get Shit Done plugin, which is kind of an alternative to OpenSpec. But Get Shit Done will burn through your 5-hour Windows worth of pro tokens in 10 minutes.
Yes.
because it spawns subagent after subagent after subagent.
It should be observed that not just Martin, but several people in the chat are very much akin to walking into somebody's second guitar lesson and going, "Do you know Dream Theater?" I'm like, "Whoa, not
bend
there yet."
the note, bend the note.
Go on, play a D flat minor with a diminished fifth, and then put a G in the bass. So
I'm going to spend some time over the weekend looking at Claude Code experimental agent teams, because Martin's now saying it's actually cheaper.
Yes.
So we'll see. Anyway, yes.
Create technical spec.md. Well, apparently I should have told it to create a technical, what is it? An explicit UI separation. So I'm going to say yes, but then I'm going to look at it, and I'm in.
777 lines.
That's a good number.
That's like a jackpot payout on a 90s fruit machine.
Technical spec.md is written to the project root. All right. Do you want to know the dumb detail that has just occurred to me?
Go on then.
I don't have a Windows 11 laptop that I use for live shows. That's fixable. I don't.
Do you have a Windows 10 laptop?
Well, I got Windows 11 on the framework, but the framework has an annoying tendency to go to sleep for no readily apparent reason every 20 minutes, and you just need to wake it up by fingerprinting it, which sucks when you're doing stuff live. I've got a bulletproof old Intel MacBook that's running Windows 10, and I've got a Mac, but never mind, we can fix all that.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look, Martin, it's done an explicit UI separation.
that there. See that? That's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. Fully decoupled. AV failures are isolated. Audio never stops for any video reason. I like that. Yep. Oh, that's interesting.
Interstem sync.
It's going to pull the audio track out of the MP4s and feed that into N-Audio's Media Foundation reader.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Interesting. Yep. Yeah. Huh. The playback engine based on this does not appear to support pause and resume. Yeah, okay. Just because I'm curious. I want to see what this would look like if it was actually a proper document and not just a thing.
As a reveal. Okay.
There's something about the way my brain works that I find it much easier to grok how big something is if I can see it as a number of pages. Also, I've never seen a black PDF before. Like, what? Hang on while I print this.
That's a VS Code thing, I think, isn't it?
No, that's Typora, but it's
Oh, okay, it's Typora.
Themes, newsprint, file, export, PDF. Yeah.
It's locked.
Yeah, of course it is. Okay. All right. Yeah, do it.
Okay.
And then I think we park all that. We come back tomorrow, and
yes,
you get to do another one tomorrow.
Yes, it'll probably be from Eli's kitchen, because tomorrow's plan is 9 a.m. couple of hours climbing. Because I'm a climber now. It's literally it has got its claws into me in the same way that picking up the bass did. It's like I'm having to stop myself going more than 3 times a week, because it's not good for you to go more than 3 times a week when you've been essentially static for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So yes.
Well, I'm learning songs because I'm doing a show on Saturday night.
Oh.
And it's just me playing film music and songs that won Oscars from movies and stuff.
Oh,
and
anything
quite a lot.
Anything particularly challenging you in
the number of key changes in "Can't Fight the Moonlight" from Coyote Ugly is like, there's a lot of songs in there that have got 3 or 4 chords.
Yeah,
like the Heat Is On is basically a 3-chord song. And so, but no, it's kind of, I basically was like, I'm going to play anything that no duets. So it's all stuff, because there's a lot of good film duets, but I need a female vocalist for that, and she's in Kansas City, which is quite a long way to come for one pub gig. And it can't be, I sort of had a rule, it can't be like musicals. It's not songs that the characters sang in the film, because otherwise you cast the net wide open with all of the Disney stuff and all of the Chicago and Moulin Rouge and So I'm like, it's got to be soundtrack. It's got to be like, you know, and so The Power of Love from Back to the Future's in there.
Cool.
And Danger Zone from Top Gun, and The Heat Is On, Footloose. But then also I'm like, well, we can do Everything I Do It For You from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because I think after 30 years, maybe people are ready to hear that one more time.
Mm-hmm. Don't You Forget About Me.
That's in there. Can't Fight the Moonlight is in there. Wild Wild West is in there.
Fantastic song. Terrible movie.
I know, but it's great fun.
The song was the best thing about that film, and that's so sad. So sad.
Turtle Power by Partners in Crime.
Nice.
Did you know that CRIME stands for Keep Rhythm Your Motivating Energy? Because
I did not know that. There you go. We've all learned something today.
And I'm also, there's a little acoustic interlude in the middle, because most of it I've got like karaoke videos, which I've mixed over the clips from the movies, so it's all very immersive and sing along, and But then I got a bit in the middle where I'm doing just a couple of just acoustic guitar singing things with Donnie Darko, Mad World, and Streets of Philadelphia, and probably Circle of Life from The Lion King as well, because that works quite nicely. Do I want to create an implementation plan? Yes. So if anyone on the stream is in London and South London and wants to come to the Foresters Arms on Saturday night, I'm doing that, and it starts at 8 and it's free.
Cool.
This is ready to build, and I'm like, no, we'll come back to this tomorrow. This will be
we'll come back to it tomorrow. Martin has made a very interesting suggestion, which I think I'll create a chat in Signal and invite you to it, Martin, along with Dylan, and we can have a discussion offline about this, because I think that might be fun. Okay.
All right.
Excellent. This has been fun.
What do I do with all of this now to make sure that it's still here in the morning?
Commit it to Git and push it to GitHub.
Git. And it's not in Git, and it's not on GitHub yet.
Yeah.
So I exit from this.
Just /exit. That's it.
And then Git status, and I'll do that after the stream. I'll just a new repo, and I still, after all these years, like creating something that's on GitHub and pulling it down locally is trivial. Initting locally and then pushing it to GitHub, I still can never remember the syntax for things. So
yes.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
We've written we haven't. What we've done is we've just spent 3 hours watching a machine write Markdown and ask questions.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't think I even have GH command line installed. No.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Create on GitHub, pull down first. All right, folks. Yeah, that was fun.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Tuning in and questioning. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.